Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Face of the Month. Today I'm going to put on some of the things that I got last month, but I didn't want to recreate looks I already had, so some of my favorite things I'm not actually putting on my face. So this isn't my favorites, it's Face of the Month. Two different things. A couple of these things you haven't seen yet because either I haven't posted it yet, I haven't edited it yet, or I haven't shot it yet. And this is one of the things I actually haven't shot yet, but it is new. And it's not something that is repetitive. You know, there was one foundation, the Exa, which is kind of on the precipice. I could have put it in this month, even though I got it last month, but I decided something spanking new. So we're just going in with it, you guys. This reminds me of the Giorgio Armani product. By the way, this tip is notable. It's very interesting. It reminds me of the product from Giorgio Armani that I reviewed recently that's not a new product, and I really did like it, but I felt like I kind of had something like that. And this YSL New, I believe, is going to be kind of the same thing. It is a tint. Oh, okay, so it looked creamy coming out. The minute you touch it, it just kind of falls like a souffle, and it has a very light feeling, but it feels, I can feel the dimethicone. I got shade 7, and it appears to be very yellow, and it feels strange. It's like, it turns watery. It's so weird. I mean, that is, I have seen products that do that. Especially moisturizers where they seem like they're one thing and the minute you spread them around they're another. But this has a very kind of watery nature to it, but I also feel the dimethicone, a little bit of scent. Not too bad. I mean, you know YSL. They're one of the worst. They have mascaras that smell very, very strong. And so far, I feel like it's not really meshing incredibly well with my skincare. Like, I can see my fingerprints. So I think I'm just going to have to be a little bit aggressive about this and really just work it in as if it were my sunscreen. I'm usually not this aggressive with my foundation. But it's kind of not a foundation. Maybe that's why. It just kind of looks like it's separated and whatnot. Okay, much, much better. So this needs, either this needs a little work, or it's just not in agreement with my skincare and my sunscreen. I don't think there's an SPF in this, you guys, but this is not the review for this, so I didn't look it up. And it's just, honestly, the slightest tint. I feel like, actually, I don't mind it. Isn't that interesting? No, I did do a video on this. I am going to put it on my finger and pick it up with a brush. This is my favorite application, and I'm not doing my Charlotte Tilbury, but I did get some of this skin tint under my eyes. When I say Charlotte Tilbury, I mean my Charlotte Tilbury corrector. And whatever's left, just kind of use it to prime my eye. And I think I'm going to do this with a brush instead of my finger. So I felt that my finger was the best thing, or my brush, the brush I applied it with, but I think I got a little too much on. And being that this is such a natural looking concealer, I think it will work really well with the foundation. Like, foundation isn't full coverage, and this isn't full coverage, so it's good for a daily kind of natural look. You know what it kind of reminds me of? A little bit. The Bite foundation. Now that one's much thicker than this one, but when I put that on and smooth it around, it kind of changes its texture in that way, but it has much more coverage, and it's thicker when it comes out. And gosh, you guys, this is not a bad look, actually. It just doesn't look makeup-y at all, and it shows. My skin is coming through, you know, and yet I really don't mind it. This might be actually kind of nice. Of course, I will have to go into the other room, and certainly I will be doing a full video on this, a 3-day wear test, and we'll play around with it. Let's move on. A little powder under the eyes. The By Terry I'm going to move on to eyes. There were a couple of palettes that I really loved. Most certainly the Dior Night Bird, I think it's called, but I'm going to do the Wayne Goss because I only used this once, and we're going to do a very, very soft look, and there's not a lot of variation you can get out of this palette, but that's okay. At least this one has a color story that works for me a little bit better. I'm going to take the darkest shade here and just put it in the crease. I'm not doing anything fancy. I mean, with this palette, I mean, you could, but I'm not. And the brushes I use are listed below. This one is the Ray Morris. It's funny, you guys, I keep on forgetting to bring my other mirror in here, and I do use it in the living room, even though I don't tweeze my eyebrows anymore. I still look at it to check my makeup if I'm doing a test, or well, sometimes I look at my pores. Guilty. But I think that's a really good shade for just knocking everything back, and I guess I got it a little bit all over my eyes, which also, you know, you want to talk about a one and done, that's a good shade to do a one and done with. And then the other shades in here, I could do, this is a matte. I guess I could kind of brighten up the eye, the inner corner with that. I really love this Westman Atelier brush. It's made for her shadows, but I love the shape. And you can see this is more like a shell pink. This just opens up the eye a little bit. And I'm going to go in with the Natasha Denona pencil, but I'm not going to do a wing or anything fancy. I'm just going to do right by the lash line and the inner rim. And just touch it with my fingers, which are very warm. I know what this foundation reminds me of. It reminds me of the Lancome Skin Feels Good. There. Do the other side now. Alright, I am ready to go on with the rest of the face, and I just feel like I'm definitely going to need a powder before I go on with any other powders. So back to the By Terry. And this is the new Dior blush in 468. I'm not sure if this is a limited edition or not, but it's very neutral. I also got that orange one, which is of course not neutral, but it's gorgeous. But it's nice to have something neutral. I feel I got a little too much over here. It's almost looking a bit like a contour. So I'm just going to blend that. Alright, I may have gone a little ham with that, and we're going to do a little bit more ham. As a matter of fact, I am going to use this new palette from Charlotte Tilbury, and I'm going to go in with this guy as a bronzer. It's not very, when I tried it the other day, and again, this is a video that I haven't posted yet, and I haven't decided which I'm posting first, but you can see it's not incredibly pigmented. So even though it looks quite dark, I feel that I'm able to make that work. And a little bit on the top of the cheeks and over the nose for that sun-kissed look. Now this contour shade, in the video I did for this, I used a different brush that I think might have been a little too dense. So I'm going in with this, which I oftentimes use for highlighters. No, I often use this for bronzer, although I haven't lately. Just get a little bit. And brush that off and blend a little bit more. And I'm really going up, I'm not going up and down. Ooh, I'm feeling contoured. I am feeling inspired to contour my nose. What? Yes. So I'm going in with the contour shade with this Rephr 26, and one thing I have to say about Rephr, thank you so much for making this big enough for me to see with my horrible eyesight. And I'm just going to buff in a little bit here. I'm feeling bronzed. So I'm going in with this ABH and this beautiful, this is a really, really pretty highlighter, Knock Off. I'm not huge into highlighter, and especially powdered highlighter. This is very pretty. And when I look close up, it's like it's nice and mellow, everything's great. But when I look over here, I'm like, ooh, this could actually be something a little more than nice and mellow. I really like a little highlight in between the eyes. It helps to open everything up and make you look a little more awake, alert, and down the center of the nose, because it does help to make it look a little more narrow. And I like it, especially if you're using a matte foundation. It just brings a little life back to the face, but not too much. For lips, Chanel came out with several new colors in existing formulas. This is the Lock formula, and it's called Beige Confidential. And again, something very neutral. We're not doing a big color look. I'm going to do my brows and curl my lashes, and then we'll put on mascara. All right, I did my brows, and I went in with this Rephr 05. I did some more blending over here because that blush brush that I used earlier definitely had some color on it from the video I shot yesterday, which was the Charlotte Tilbury video, and I just needed to kind of meld that together. Not that it doesn't look pretty, it's just not exactly the look I was going for. I curled my lashes, and I'm doing this one again. This is the new one from Ilia. I wasn't sure I really liked this on me, but somebody said in the comments, I love this. I'm definitely getting it. So I'm giving it another try. And I think that is it. It ended up being a lot more warmer than I thought that it might. The lip, but also that color from the Charlotte Tilbury palette accidentally got on my face. Mascara, I'm giving it another day. The Lancome concealer, perfect with this kind of foundation, which is the new and new from YSL, which I'm kind of digging. I'm kind of surprised. It does remind me a lot of Skin So Good from the Lancome, but that one doesn't come in good colors, so I had to buy two of them to mix them together, and it was just kind of a pain in the ass. And this one actually, I think, sets down a little bit more, but I do feel they're very, very similar. Then we have the pencil from Natasha Denona, her new pencil, the Lac in Beige Confidential, which is very comfortable. I don't like glosses that much, but this one almost feels like it dries down and it's not super, super shiny. It's really pretty on the lip too. It doesn't like fall into the vertical lines and accentuate them. I'm not saying it fills them up either. I love it when 20-year-old girls go, oh, it fills up my lines. You don't have any lines. Be quiet. But it looks nice on the lips and it's comfortable. The Tilbury palette, face palette, the Dior blush, which is, I'm just going to do a swatch for you because it did kind of get messed up with that bronzy color in the Tilbury, but that's it. And it's just a really pretty everyday neutral color. And then this is the color that I think I had on my brush, which is orange. So yeah, I'm not quite getting the look that I wanted. The Charlotte Tilbury palette and the Wayne Goss. I just did this shade and this shade, and it just, I mean, that's great for an everyday basic look. A little shading up here, a little opening up right here with this like seashell-y pink color. And I'm telling you guys, if you look in movies or on TV shows at the makeup they use on women for eyes, it's always a shade like that because they're trying to do the same thing I always talk about. Define the eye, give it some shape, push the hood back because a lot of women are actually hooded, even though not on YouTube. And that's the kind of shade they do it with. It's not too gray. It's not exactly taupe either. It's not too cold. You know, it is like a minky taupe, but it doesn't have that light brown in it. A lot of minky taupes kind of shift a little bit. It's just a really nice color for doing that particular job. And that's it. This is the face of August. Let me know what you think below. And that's going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope it was fun for you, enjoyable. Maybe I gave you a couple of ideas. And until we meet again, be safe, be smart, and I'm wishing you good health.